So I definitely think it is possible to get every American eligible to get the vaccine by May. Vaccines are already available in 10,000 pharmacies nationwide, but it's not just about making enough vaccine, it's also about getting that vaccine into arms. It's about getting that vaccine to regions that have had difficulty accessing it. When Biden started, only 8% over the age of 65 had received their vaccine. Now that number is up to 65%. We are still at 10% vaccinated now overall for Americans, which means 90% are still susceptible to getting very sick from the virus. However, the distributions have skyrocketed in the last 2 weeks. Since early January, they were averaging 8 million to 10 million doses a week. But in both the last week of February and again in the first week of March, the companies have delivered around 20 million doses. And if Pfizer and Moderna can keep this up, they'll both hit 100 million easy.
So I'll just jump to the chase. If the majority of the elderly have been vaccinated, and those we know from the statistics are the people most susceptible for the horrid outcomes of this disease, why not just open everything up within the states to, if you're over 18, register? Because you're still going to have you're not going to get it immediately. Why not just begin that process now?
To open it up for everybody, right?
Yes.
So there's three dates that stick out to me from President Biden's speech. May 1st is like his deadline for all adults age 18 and older being eligible for the vaccine. 31st is all adults receiving the vaccine. July 4th is a goal of returning to some sense of normalcy. And a lot of that July 4th date does hinge on getting folks vaccinated. If earlier than May, then the better. I think it's going to depend on the infrastructure in a lot of states and local cities on how they can get that vaccine into arms. And places that have been able to do it, like Alaska, like you mentioned, are moving ahead with that charge. Currently, by May 31st, companies estimated the following number of vaccines. Moderna was 200 million, Pfizer was 200 million, and Johnson & Johnson, I believe, was 100 million. That would be enough to vaccinate 300 million people. And we know the U.S. adult population is around 250 million. So if those doses come through, we can and get them into arms, we'll get there.
And I was mentioning earlier the Novavax vaccine, the drug maker saying that it's highly effective against not just the original strain, but also the UK strain. How important is it to continue to see new vaccines come to the market?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important that we keep doing research on this virus because as we've seen, it does mutate, it does change. And this week, Novavax said its COVID-19 vaccine is 96.4% effective against mild, moderate, and severe disease caused by the original COVID-19 strain. And it announced that its two-shot regimen prevented 100% of severe COVID cases, including hospitalization and death. And this was in the UK study. The trials were conducted in UK and in South Africa, where the new mutations of coronavirus had first emerged. And this is what makes this particular trial so important, especially compared to Pfizer and Moderna, where those variants were not allowed around when they were studied. The UK study had more than 15,000 participants. 27% of them were over the age of 65. And in addition to being 96.4% protective against the original strain, the vaccine also demonstrated 86.3% efficacy against COVID cases due to the mutated strain first identified in the UK. It was about 90% effective overall, combining the data from both versions of that virus. So definitely think it's very important that we continue to do research, especially as this virus mutates and changes.